All right, so another question here that I came up with: if you were commissioner for a day of baseball, what would you do to try and bring more interest to the game?
It'd take more than a day,
Right.
but I could definitely bring more interest to the game. They do. Major League Baseball does some really dumb things. Some really dumb things. And I understood the 7 inning doubleheader during COVID because you're going to have so many guys going down with COVID that it's just going to be hard to field a team for you know, 2 9 inning games in the same day, and you're going to have a bunch of 2 game days because you're going to lose a bunch of days to COVID. And you're going to play more double headers than you would have ever had to play before, and your pitching and all of that's just going to be But first thing I would do is get rid of that. No, that wouldn't be the first thing. The first thing I'd get rid of is that damn ghost runner on second base in a tie game. That's that's so bush league, little league. That's just so silly. Uh, that's not even baseball.
No.
When you stick a guy on second base, I mean, you have a bunt and a sacrifice fly, and the pitcher loses the game and doesn't even give up an earned run because at least they're not going to charge him an earned run for that. But that's silly. Why? If the other team's going to get the same thing, they're going to go, you're not shortening the game. It's going to take 5 innings before somebody finally busts loose and scores. Yeah. So I think that's a futile, silly deal. I don't like the shift, but I'm not sure you could make a rule that's fair about the shift. It's kind of like stealing signs. If you can't penalize a team for stealing signs, I don't think, unless they're using technology. If they've got cameras and wiring and long distance binoculars and all of this, yeah. But if I'm in the dugout and I notice that the pitcher tips his pitch, and I tell my buddy who comes in, hey, every time he shakes his glove a certain way, he's fixing to throw a curveball, then that's just smart baseball.
Right.
So again, that's another thing that I understand where they have a hard time with rules about substances and this sort of thing. The commissioner's going to take flack, whatever he does there. But some of the rules are, and if you're going to bring modern generation in, you're going to have to speed the game up.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And I've even thought about this because I was a pitcher, and when you have a base runner, you have to delay your delivery to the plate. Because if he knows you're going to throw the ball every so many seconds, he's going to steal if he's any good at all. So you have to one time take 20 seconds and the next time take 5.
Right.
And how can you make a rule that that allows the time speed there? And another suggestion that I heard them make was that you could only throw over to first base twice or 3 times. Well, after you throw the 3rd time, you've just told that guy,
yeah,
you're gone, take off.
Yeah, you can go.
So some of those rules that they have proposed just are kind of silly. I do like the double bag like they use in some leagues. I think some of the softball leagues use it, where there's a bag on each side of the foul line. One for the baseman, one for the runner. I like that. I think that would be a great idea. But mostly you're going to have to just find a way to speed the game up, which I think is have the umpire tell batters to get back in the box, have the umpires to say throw the pitch. Some sort of warning system or something. Again, that's going to be really difficult. But if the players don't get smart and speed the game up themselves, they're going to kill their own golden goose.
Right.
That's what they're going to do.
Exactly. All right, one more, or I think I might have another one, but after this one. But who are some of your favorite players? I guess I think of like my generation since 1980, so I know there's going to be a few Yankees in
Oh,
there.
I'll take the Yankees out because they're my first.
That's obvious, right?
Yeah, they're all Yankees, but my absolute favorite player is not the greatest catcher in the world. He's a Yankee. It was Thurman Munson. That's
Right.
my favorite player. He epitomized baseball for me, and he happened to be a Yankee. So he was a cranky, gripey guy, but nobody played harder. Nobody ever played harder. Nobody ever played smarter. And that's why I like Jeter and Judge for the same reason. Plus, they're nice guys. They're
Yeah.
kind of big sweetheart guys, but they will tell you when you're screwing up, and they will play hard. And that's all I really care about. So my favorite players, other than the Yankees, have always been guys that I looked at and thought, that guy really goes out there and approaches the game like it's something real. He respects the thing. That's why I don't like showboats. I don't like bat flips. I know everybody else does, and I don't hate them, but every time I see somebody do one of those super fancy bat flips, I think Bob Gibson would have killed you the next time you batted.
Yeah.
He would have drilled you right in the head the next time you
Yeah.
come up. And then I remember Eckersley, who retaliated by doing
Right.
the shoot you when he struck you out. It's a deal. It's not that bad, but I hate the Red Sox. I loved Jim Rice. I thought Jim Rice was as quality a player as I ever saw in my life. And even with that ugly ass Boston Red Sox uniform on, I still respected him and liked him. I like Palmeiro that I mentioned a while ago. Pudge Rodriguez, I think is the best defensive catcher I ever saw in my life, and that includes my hero Thurman Munson and Johnny Bench and Yogi Berra. I never saw a better defensive catcher than Rodriguez, and he wasn't a slouch hitter. He was a good hitter. The Rangers, who I've tried to be a fan of.
They've made it difficult.
Yeah, and they've had some guys. They seem to always get rid of their class, though, their best players. They had a guy, and that goes way back. I mean, they had a guy named Al Oliver that I thought was just an absolute. He won a batting title, but he didn't last there almost any time at all. He was one of those guys that I really liked to go see. I loved watching Rod Carew. I thought that whole era of the mid '80s there. Carew, Boggs, Gwynn, Mattingly, those guys were all kind of just like clones.
Yeah.
They were. The year Mattingly hit 30-something home runs and struck out less than 30 times was pretty impressive. But I think any one of those guys could have done that and got close to it at different times. Yankee Stadium did kind of set up Mattingly some home runs because he could pull the ball, but those guys could all pull the ball too. Then those guys could also hit the ball that way, hit the ball to center. The most modern players tick me off when they refuse to hit against the shift.
Right.
And I watched Gallo yesterday, and they put 4 outfielders in the. That's slow pitch softball, man.
Right.
They put 4 outfielders out there, move a guy all the way over here to barely on this side of second base, and then the second baseman here and the first baseman here. Why don't you just dump the littlest, weakest hit in the world right there and get on base?
Right.
Other than hit it where everybody is at over here, thinking that you're going to hit it over the fence. Those kind of guys, I just can't get behind.
Right.
I prefer a guy that was Ken Griffey Jr. Oh my God, that guy was a stud beyond all studs. If he hadn't got hurt late in his career, no telling, he'd definitely be the home run leader.
For sure.
Cal Ripken Jr. Guys like that. How could you not like Cal Ripken Jr.?
Right.
I mean, how could you not like those guys? It's every time a Yankee hater starts saying something about Derek Jeter, I'm going, you're not even a baseball fan. I mean,
Right.
you can hate the Yankees, but there's no way you can hate somebody who plays like Derek Jeter plays.
Right.
You've got to at least give the devil his due.
Right.
I mean, he's a player, and
Yeah.
he plays the ball game well. And I like guys that can play multiple positions and that sort of thing. And I think that also has with modern deals. Back to my commissioner rule, I forgot that I wanted a while ago. I love that you have to pitch the new rule that you have to pitch to at least 3 batters, because it had got to the point, and it's still too many pitchers in a game.
Yeah.
There needs to be a rule that says you can only have this many pitchers on the team, and I think 10 or 12 is plenty. But some of them carry 14, 15
Right.
pitchers and only carry like 2 bench players over there. You know?
Right.
That's not, again, I think that's bastardizing the game. You're changing it too much when you do that. And start a guy and he pitches 2 innings, you know, and then bringing somebody else in, they'll pitch 4, and then another guy to pitch the next 2. And I'm going, good Lord.
Right.
You know, play the game the way it's supposed to be played. And I think that would, again, solve a lot of the, people like to see runs scored.
Yes.
You should do things that encourage the stolen base. You should do things that encourage a 300 hitter.
Yeah.
You know, home runs, they're cool, but my God, that's not the whole game.
No, I agree. All right, so I have one more for you that I just kind of thought of on the fly. We all know your love for literature and baseball both. And not to take away from your current works of literature that you've written, but if you could go down as either the greatest writer ever or the best baseball player ever,
Oh, Lord.
which would you pick?
Oh. Wow. That's the first time anybody ever asked me that, and boy, do I not know. But my first inclination was writer, and then I thought, oh no, greatest baseball player ever? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think more people know Babe Ruth than John Steinbeck, so I'm probably going to lean toward baseball a little bit. But they both require the same thing. They both require dedication, focus. You know, you don't just. I was a curveball pitcher, and I've told everybody that when I'm teaching writing, I said I did not tumble out of my mother's womb throwing a curveball. I learned how to do it by the grip, the arm angles, and then going out and throwing curveball after curveball after curveball, and that's how you learn to write. You sit down, you read what other people have written, you look at words, you learn to love words, and then you manipulate those words across the deal. And I guess the short answer there is I have no idea which one. I would probably flip a coin.
Yeah. Either one would be great.
Yeah, I would be the happiest man on the planet with heads or tails on that coin flip.
So, all right, well, that's a wrap for me. If, like I said earlier, if any of you guys have questions for us, note them in the comments, and we'll do our best to get them answered on the next go-round with this. So, thank y'all for watching.